Hello everyone, my name is Tim Neostrike and welcome to my little cage tutorial. We have a lot to talk about and I'm going to talk a lot at great length whether you want me to or not. I'm sorry. Just preparing you for that. This video is going to be a little bit long, but hopefully it won't be a half an hour. Speaking of which, here is Caesar, the chameleon in question from the last video. Yes, he's the chameleon dude with an attitude. This is a hard plastic pothos. I'm going to get into the plants and the vegetation first, just to get it over with, and we'll talk about the rest in a minute. I don't recommend these. I got it too late out of a whim because it looked pretty. It does add color, so that's why I kept it, and I paid $8 for it. Again, why I kept it. On this side, though, I have my big, beautiful plant, which is there for me. Decoration and extra humidity. What I recommend you people getting is the silk plants, along with a combination of real ones. Get at least one real potted plant that you put inside here. And if you're only gonna get one, I do recommend the more common one, and it just looks pretty, the golden pothos plant, which is right there. That's one of the many leaves. These are the silk ones. Get them on eBay. I'll put links in the description because they're no more than $10 tops. That's with shipping, and that's tops. You can find this exact one, and this is a large, at Petco or whatever for about $15. So if you really want to spend the time to waste $5 extra, go ahead, but I'm trying to help you save some money at the same time. Some of these, again, just for like a bit of a curtain for hiding, so you can be back there and not be so exposed and feel a little more, you're cracking me up, to feel a little more secure. I took one of my other larger silk ones like this and I just cut it out and put it along using small black zip ties and or fishing line to keep them in place and keep them secure. I recommend doing that as well. These vines, I'll also put in the description. I'll put the one link. You can find it on the same page. Just choose your brand of that one, that one post, whatever you want to call it. There's 4 types you can get. The others look just like this, so that's why I didn't get them. I got one of these, purple, and again I trimmed it up to where it went all over the place. This is the lower half where he gets to hide from the light as well as the heat. Back there is a croton, one of the only other plants that look very, very colorful and can safely be in here, where they might, for whatever reason, if they do nibble on the leaves for some reason, they will not be toxic or dangerous. My real plants, besides that croton there, it's a small potted plant, also being suspended by fishing lines. Because of its location, it's being suspended by the fishing lines tied to the main branches, and I'll get to the branches in a minute. Golden pothos here is good for clutter. By clutter, I mean some clutter. You don't want the whole damn cage being full of clutter, but you certainly don't want too much open space. The only place you want open space is maybe up here, to where you can get full exposure to direct light. These are the UVBs, UVA, and heat, 3-in-1 mercury bulbs. That's 160 watt there, 100 watt there. It gives perfect amount of ample heat and light that can actually penetrate down through and filter down through until about midway. I already mentioned these guys, no need to mention them anymore, but I will mention this about the plants. I have 2 pothos in here besides that croton in the middle. They're a nice potted plant that have gravel in them to kind of keep him from digging into the dirt, where I at one point put a little bit of fertilizer into, once. There's no real need to fertilize these plants a lot. You don't want them to go out of control with the growth. You just want them to stay green and lush and kind of branch outward a little bit, like this one kind of has, thanks to the lamps. They are by the window, that gives them some good light. But that's no excuse not to get these, because the window kind of filters the direct UVB that your chameleon will need. But it's good for the plants. They're held by 50-pound fishing wires. This one here, and this one is for this plant. The third one, as you can see through the screen right there, that little line, is attached to this branch. And that's what's it's holding it for the stability. But the majority of the weight, as you can see, that's why it's pulled up so high, is for that. And that pulled up so high so that way the plant can kind of branch out and not straight up. I mean, they're vines. They'll tend to branch out onto things and wrap around things in time. And it will after a few months. And mine's already starting to do it, and I've had it in this thing since, God, October, November. Even though he wasn't in it until November, I had these guys set up since, God, middle October. Gravel, I think I already mentioned. You simply poke a hole in there with some tacks and feed the fishing line through and tie a couple knots, wrap it around there and tie a couple knots, and bam, you're good to go. There's no need to do anything else. It suspends it, remove the bottom cover, the water capture cover from that, because otherwise it'll pool up and eventually they could flood, especially when you have misters like I do that spray 30 seconds to a minute of spraying water. You think, oh, that's no big deal. But every 3 hours or every hour, that's a lot of water, and that's what your chameleon needs, and it keeps the area very humid, which is good. That can flood your plants, though. So if you remove those covers, the excess water, if any, that drips into there will drip right out. It'll keep it well watered without killing it. And 50-pound fishing line it's the best way to go. Let's move on to the branches and vines. These are bendable vines, what do you want to call them? Again, link in the description through eBay. Choose your sizes wisely. The thin ones are the small ones. They're damn near the size of this. They're really tiny. I don't recommend that except for your babies. For him, and something bigger, go with the medium, which is about this, just about the size of my finger, or the large. And they wrap around pretty easy. Pick a good spot for them to be, bend to, wrap to your branches, twigs, etc., and leave it there. If you bend them around multiple times all over the place, they will start to crack and they'll snap, and you don't want that. But otherwise, they're the best for their soft, delicate feet, because they do have soft, delicate feet, just like they have such soft skin. That's why I don't recommend these hard, crusty ones that he tends to avoid. They're great for gripping because they're very firm, very soft, yet they're sturdy enough to get the job done. I do not recommend the shitty, cheaply made ones that you find at Petco that are black and have that sandy, crusty crap that's on it, because it easily falls off. You just touch it and it's stuck to your finger, and they can get it stuck to them. They can, because they lick things just to test it, check it out, or get water off of it. And you don't want them accidentally ingesting any of that crap into their body. Again, if you wrap them like I did, which was a little too tight, as you can see, they do kind of crack a little bit here. That's the only downside. Additional supports like this, fishing line, zip ties, keep it from wiggling all over the place. Because, again, that may be like that in the wild, but, you know, keeping things secure for his sake and his safety, it's just better because he's in a cage. So, yeah, a few of those to make highways for vertical and angled ways like it is in nature. That's great. With that being said, as you can see, he's resting perfectly fine on a horizontal source, which is what you also need. Ain't that right, boy? That's what these are. You notice these branches look very real because they are. They are branches from my backyard that I've cut and then shaved or cut additional chunks out of it to make sure it's down to the proper size of my cage, roughly. Took in the tub with a scrubby brush and cleaned off all the debris and gunk of the outside, because it was just, some of them were black with just nastiness, just weathering, and they look beautiful. They're smooth and clean, and they're more or less sanitary without you washing with soap, and they're held together with some strong industrial black thumbtacks. I say that because they're about $1 for a couple of hundred, maybe $2 at Walmart. I don't recommend getting the oh, here's an example. I use these for like school crap. These, they're less than $1, but they're really thin, they're very small, and as you see, I put 2 of my black ones in question through this. They poke right through because these are bigger and they're longer. That being said, they can grip onto the core of the branches in the center where it's the softest, so it's pliable, very easy to push tack through, but still tight enough to grip the hell out of it, and that'll keep it snug in place. And as long as your branches aren't logs, they're not going to be too heavy for your cage, and they won't fall or tear anything, and neither will the weight of your chameleon who's on it. So that's all. That's all there is to it, man. Get real branches, you know, get some that looks really beautiful. I wish I had taken video and pictures of the progression of making it, but you can see that in the forums, which I'll also link to the young lady who is a master of breeding and raising chameleons, male and female of all kinds, and she's the one I got the idea from in the first place, and you can do the same. So, yeah. Told you this thing was going to be a long video. That's all there is to it, though. I already talked about the misting and the lighting and everything like that before, and this is just regular moss. You can get it, you know, Petco, or you can get online like I did. Really, it's for decoration. It's easy to clean up poo off of it. But if you do things right, you notice everything is suspended, and he's never ever gone down there once. All right. Until next time. Say goodbye, Caesar. Panther Chameleon Caesar signing out. Bye, buddy.